Welcome back, Collegiate Call of Duty connoisseurs across the globe. We got the Academy Losers Finals now. Florida Gulf Coast, St. Edwards Hilltoppers going head-to-head, Jesse. Winner moves forward to the Grand Finals. Loser goes home.
Yeah, and this is kind of what it all comes down to, right? Winner of this will eventually get their rematch against the likes of Fisher College, who's sitting and awaiting in the Grand Finals. Both these teams throughout losers bracket have lost 3-0 to Fisher College. FGCU a little bit earlier in the tournament, I believe it was winners round 3 or winners round 4 that they ended up dropping to them. And then St. Edwards, we just saw just a few moments ago in the winners final, dropped 3-0 in a very close series and a very close 3-0 to Fisher College. Both teams now going to be fighting for a chance at a rematch there in the Grand Finals.
Yeah, I mean, taking a look back at the St. Edwards Hilltoppers roster, you know, we just saw them in the winners final, Jesse, and I will say I was a little bit underwhelmed. I mean, this is a team looking to go back-to-back in the Academy. You know, if you beat Fisher, you put yourself in the best position you could ask for, but you lose 3-0. You don't get a map. You get close in the towards the end of the hard point. You get close in the control, but you fall short at the finish line. Yeah. Now you're going down to a red-hot FGCU team, and you have to think you need to bounce back right away.
You do. You do need to make the comeback a very quick one here. I think the one player to highlight out of everybody, though, is going to be the main machine gun here on the side of St. Edwards University. We're looking at Fiasco. Had a very, very rough map number 1, a little bit of a rough map number 2. Started to bring it back towards the end of that third map, but unfortunately just was not enough. You need to see Fiasco turning it up here. Can't have that same double negative performance that you saw in maps 1 and maps 2 here inside of the losers finals. Otherwise, you will not make it out of this losers finals, because everybody on the other side are going to be looking to pop off here for FGCU.
It's time to introduce their challengers, Jesse. Florida Gulf Coast University Academy. You know, the main team, they're looking to go a little bit farther than this team. They want to beat out in the top 3, you know. I think Academy has definitely set FGCU on the map right now for, you know, what the school can really achieve. But for the Academy team, you look at Minty, Poldo, Apollo, and Crazy, and they're looking to level up the school and see if they can get a championship for them.
Yeah, all right, and that's going to be the big thing here for FGCU, is just really kind of trying to put them on the map. They already got probably, I think you could arguably say, the best Division II team. Now, if you come out here, you win the Academy playoffs, you could arguably say the best Academy team, right? So, you know, the next step after that eventually would be to go on to win the whole thing, but that's going to be at a later date and a later talking point for us with their main team, who has looked very good throughout a lot of this year. But, yeah, this team definitely has an opportunity here to come out against St. Edwards, who are going to be down in the dumps. They just lost their last series. Now, you know, you might not have the greatest series record and the greatest kind of comparison against St. Edwards University when looking overall at all the maps and modes, but I mean, this is a team that looked vulnerable in that last series, and you definitely have an opportunity to come out here and win some of these maps against them.
Look, Jesse, I went into this, and I don't want to say that FGCU Academy have outplaced FGCU main team just yet, because we haven't seen the main team play throughout the playoffs, but this Academy team have reached a height that you can look at them and you can congratulate at how far they've really pushed. These 4 players now looking to take down SCU Hilltoppers and deny them of any chance of a back-to-back in the Academy. We look at their head-to-head. 16-1 for Florida Gulf Coast. It was 17-0 going into today for St. Edwards until they just lost to Fisher. Now we get to look back at this and really judge how we're going up to against both of these teams, and it's quite like the Fisher versus St. Edwards game. Now that St. Edwards have lost that match, relatively both of these two teams are close in comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the big thing when you look at the kind of the big comparison between these two teams, I don't really want to look at regular season stuff. I mean, that's against all the other Academy teams, and let's be honest, some of the Academy teams are not the greatest compared to some of our top Academy teams. So now when we look at really just playoff stuff and the best of the best Academy teams that you've been going up against, FGCU kind of has a better record right now. They've dropped to lower bracket. They went undefeated throughout the lower bracket. They didn't drop a map until they lost their 3 matches in those 3 maps, inside the winners bracket against the likes of Fisher College. So now dropping here, you technically have a better record than SCU. So I mean, you got a good opportunity to be able to really come out and show that you're a better team than the St. Edwards University team. But if you're SCU, you're trying to fight your hardest back. You want to make it back to that grand final. You want the 2-peat here, but it starts with a victory over FGCU right now.
Yeah, Jesse, I think the main storyline is at the bottom of the screen there. The playoff record: St. Edwards 4-1, Florida Gulf Coast 6-1. Florida, they've had more reps throughout the playoffs. They had to make that lower bracket run, and they made it look clean. Can they do it once more now against the Hilltoppers? Let's take a look at the setting that we get for this best of 5. It's going to be a good one, Jesse, but we are going to be starting on Embassy this time, not the Fortress. We got El Asilo, Search and Destroy. Then we go back to Greenberg. It seems like St. Edwards aren't ready to leave.
Yeah, almost the exact same map set that we got inside of the last series, except, you know, a couple maps flip-flopped here and there. Really just flip-flopping maps 2 and maps 5. And then map 1, obviously, a different map than what we saw in that first series. We're going to go to Embassy. But, I mean, either way, it's almost the exact same thing, Colin. You got one slow Search and Destroy map in El Asilo, and then you're going to go to 4 very rambunctious, very fast-paced maps in Embassy, and then the Triple Hotel to close things out if we go that full distance here. But we're going to start things off on an Embassy hardpoint. I love this map, too. A very fun map to be able to come through and play. Very fast-paced, high-octane gameplay. Setups need to be on point on those money hills. We're looking at hills number 3. We're looking at hill number 4. Those 2 hills inside of the Embassy building and inside of top AC. Those 2 hills are going to be your main hills we're looking at here in this map.
Let's jump in with FGCU Academy. Poldo right away. Going to catch Crook on rotation. A little bit of early time here from the Hilltoppers as they're going to hop right into the hill, but the real focus is that rotation over to P2, and I like that they don't settle for just hopping on time. I like that Fiasco takes control of Orange, makes sure you box out FGCU for the moment, and really solidify your stance here.
Yeah, they're in a good spot, right? 22 seconds already off the start of the game. The maps gets flipped out for a very, very tiny portion of time there. And now St. Edwards right back inside of the hill. This is a good amount of time here on this P1 hill. Not something you see
really
all the time here. And now you can see Crazy going to completely change their mind here. Don't want to be pushing back over towards P1. You want to be setting up for P2 now. But they may have waited a little bit too long to go for this full setup here.
Well, now in rotation, Fiasco starts off hot 5-0. Shut down by Minty. Rotation for FGCU, going to be locked in towards P2 as you look at player number 1, Crazy, on the front line. Watching to see if he can shut down St. Edwards before they even get to look in on this. Vastev in hand, he's going to look out, finds the first one, snaps to the second, cleans up combat. Minty's going to chime in for a third, so FGCU on transition haven't really faltered at all. You get a far spawn from Apollo. It's going to take a little bit to get back into it. Allows St. Edwards a buffer to jump in and contest. And yeah, Combat's going to hop in and kind of clean FGCU out of the hill.
Yeah, closer spawn for the St. Edwards players. Now Apollo really the only player here who can make a big difference. Will find one, has a big one-on-one with Rauk on the outside, but you can see the full rotation over towards P3, over towards top AC. It's going to be the likes of the FGCU players that are going to be the first players set up towards the top. You've got Crazy up there. You got Poldo. You need to try to hold off this push, but St. Edwards, it looks like they're going to try to set up a pinch here. Combat and Kruk looking for the break.
Well, Combat's out for 2, and nobody's looking at him. Poldo thought he was ready, but you think twice. It's a clean 4 to break Jesse right away.
Massive break there. They set up a beautiful pinch where you send one player through the ladder, one player through top orange. As soon as that player from ladder peaks, the rest of the players from top orange make the break from the front, and now you spawn FGCU out. This is a great hold so far. 25 free seconds going the way of St. Edwards. Hasn't really even been contested from Florida Gulf Coast because you got 4-man wiped as soon as the hill popped.
And Rauk was big chilling for a second top admin, but Crazy's found a way to break, so Rauk's going to have to jump down, look back into it, and Rauk's on 5 in a row, so now it's his turn to look towards Shriek as Fiasco, who started off 5-0, wasn't able to get that cruise missile. Still a chance, though, for St. Edwards to gain a kill streak as we look over to P4.
And what did we say the biggest problem from St. Edwards was inside of that first map of the winners finals? It was that they were having a hard time rotating. Well, so far in this series, looking much better here. Not only rotating early, but also winning way more gunfights here on rotation. I say that, but 3 go down in the favor of Florida Gulf Coast, and they get their first break of the match.
Crazy's been mental right now on these breaks. Not only denying some time from St. Edwards back on the P3 hill, but immediately leading the charge to break P4. They answer back from Hilltoppers. Off the respawn's going to be good to get back in right away. So 35 seconds that they fight for here. Crook going to lay down, wash towards the side door. Now back on the streak for 4. Fiasco outside, making sure that him and Relk on a crossfire can deny tennis court control for FGCU. And looks like Florida Gulf Coast, they're just going to give it up and rotate again.
Yeah, you've had a few breaks back and forth, but yeah, this will be another just full give up here from Florida Gulf Coast. A full rotation, but Combat slipped the line. Combat slips through. Combat finds one, can't find the second. Will get tagged up by Minty, will get shut down, but from the front, Fiasco will find the break. And once again, Florida Gulf Coast, first team to rotate, instantly broken from St. Edwards again.
Combat finding one was just enough to allow Fiasco to activate from the front line. So St. Edwards on rotation again. Jesse for initial time. Combat's back into the mix to take down Minty. Fiasco, all you need to do is sit here and wait, collect this time. Few players from FGCU looking to break. Apollo, first one in, crazy to back him up. Fiasco collects both and a 3 spree in the hill.
And who was the player that we were kind of highlighting coming into this? We said they needed to turn up. Double negative through a lot of the series against Fisher College. Now double positive is Fiasco. 13-7. A very good map out of them so far here. And a big lead for St. Edwards in this first set of rotations. If they hold on to the remainder of this time, they could have over a 100-point lead over the likes of Florida Gulf Coast. A few more seconds tick here, and there it is. That 100-point lead will come through. They could even hold on to the rest of this.
You couldn't ask for anything better for the Hilltoppers to bounce back after not the best start to today. 175 after Hill 5 is done as we head back into the second set of rotation. Hilltoppers in full control. Apollo on the bridge. Maybe you can look over and deny some time here from Fiasco, and you will, but that's going to activate the rest of the Hilltoppers to look out. And Apollo, the turret up top, takes down 2. Poldo's going to get a 3rd. Combat returns for a trade, but it's enough for FGCU to deny and get into the hill.
They do get into the hill, but for how long, right? This is going to be a very short-lived hill time. You can see all the players from St. Edwards spawning in and around the hill, now trying to flip these spawns out as well as they look to get across the map. But St. Edwards has done a great job of not only holding on to this P1 time, but also looking towards this rotation over towards P2. It didn't work out for them in the first set. They did get shut down marginally over here. And again, actually, these gunfights now from the middle of the map going to be going the way of Florida Gulf Coast, so St. Edwards needs to start to group up here and try to make a break from the front.
Fiasco loses out to Crazy. Big player, has been Crazy for a lot of these rotations. 11-13, you know, hasn't been flawless, but it reflects on the scoreline just how dominant St. Edwards have been. Now to see if they can break early yet again. Crazy's going to have to feed this information. Apollo does get the kill, and you can see that a player of St. Edwards did slip through. It's going to break the rhythm of FGCU. Apollo's going to have to try to find everything, but as he drops Poldo off respawn, now has to pick up the mantle. 33 seconds that FGCU do not want to give up, and you look at St. Edwards, they are going to fight for this again. From the outside, Combat and Relk pinch. They break together, and 3 down for FGCU.
And this has no doubt been FGCU's best hill of the map. They both times through found their majority of time on that P2 hill. But now back over towards P3, back over towards top AC. We saw a break come in from top orange and from the ladder push the last time through. This time, it's going to be 2 players pushing across top. Cat can't find any kills. And this should be early time now going towards Florida Gulf Coast. They need a big hold here.
Crazy just needs to stay alive in this position. Try to do as much damage as possible, but Combat for the bait and switch. Helping out his teammate. Apollo's turn from down low. Minty for the 1v1. Stays alive. FGCU don't want to give up. The players for St. Edwards spawning up towards the ladder. Minty's going to recognize that. Peeks across, takes down Crook. 34 seconds with winner's advantage. The Hilltoppers, they don't need to go for this, Jesse, but Combat looking to do one more time. Apollo says no. Fiasco maybe looking at this. 46 HP for Apollo. Gets the first. The trade for Minty. Across it, can't stay alive, but enough time was shaved off that St. Edwards, they don't win here.
No, they don't win here, and Poldo's going to make sure of that as well by walking away with the gunfight victory there. But still holding that 100-point lead is St. Edwards. You push across the map now, you probably got one shot at breaking this here if you're Florida Gulf Coast and the game is over.
Hilltoppers, all they need to do is hold. Minty, though, not looking behind her. St. Edwards, and Minty gets in for free, Jesse.
They do. And when you look across now, everybody on the likes of St. Edwards is going to spawn up on that southern side of the map. They've got an opportunity to break. You've got 2 players from FGCU as well spawning out towards mid. So they do have numbers right now towards the hill.
And the nades are going to be thrown through the doors wide open. St. Edward's taking their time, but it's going to pay off. Player number 6 in the stairwell. Combat and Crook combined for 2. Minty now all alone inside. Here comes the Hilltoppers, and they take it all. 6 seconds left for St. Edward's to take map 1. Apollo shut out and boxed out. And St. Edward's with one more kill take map 1. In a dominant fashion.
250 to 163, 90 points the difference there inside of that map number 1 victory, almost out onto that 100-point lead that they carried through a lot of the map for themselves there. A crazy map, honestly, through what looked like a very solid start for St. Edward's, answered back by a good hold on P2, what looked like a fantastic setup on P3 for Florida Gulf Coast University. Just answered with immediate break after break from St. Edward's. Their breaks were so on point through a lot of those hills. The two that really stand out to me, Hill 3 and Hill 5, though. Those 2 breaks from St. Edward's really changed the game in that first set of rotations. If you hold on to those time from Florida Gulf Coast, we could have been at a tie game going into the second set. Instead, it's almost a completely opposite scenario. Florida Gulf Coast lose by 100, and St. Edwards just looked very, very good in that map number 1.
They do. I think you highlighted it perfectly, Jesse, that everything that went wrong for St. Edwards back against Fisher, I mean, it kind of seems like they were just allowed to rotate around this map without really a lot of pushback. Combat was running routes. He was finding some openings to allow Fiasco into position to kind of finish the job wherever they started off. And that hot start from Fiasco was really everything St. Edwards needed to set the pace of this game. So Fiasco and Combat do a really good job at rotating through this map and really denying Florida Gulf Coast as majority of their rotations, because at times FGCU, you could see that they were trying to rotate. It's just they weren't able to find the kills to back it up.
Absolutely, and Fiasco never slows down either throughout that map. I mean, gets to a point where they were quite positive and ends up closing it out at that same point. 22 and 15, 23 and 19 from Kruk. You had a solid games out of Combat and Relk, your main AR and your second sub on the team there. But Combat was doing their job. They were flying into the hill. They soaked up that hill time as well. 2 minutes and 18 seconds from Combat inside of that map there. Didn't really need to do anything more than getting 4 kills over positive. And you look across the board, 12 and 20, 13 and 20 from Crazy and Minty. And Minty had some pop-off moments on that map, but definitely need to be going a little bit better from your 2 submachine guns there on the side of Florida Gulf Coast if you're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with these St. Edwards Hilltoppers.
Exactly. If you want to see grand finals, you need to step it up. There's no time but now to play your best if you're FGCU Academy. Now looking forward to El Asilo, the map that St. Edwards, we didn't get to see them play it against Fisher. It was map number 5 in the winners final. They got swept 3-0, so this is their chance now to show us exactly why they wanted to go to El Asilo for that map 5. You ban out the Fortress Search and Destroy. You don't want to play on that mixing map for this game mode, but El Asilo, I could see it definitely play a lot more into the favor after what we saw from the Hilltoppers on Embassy. You know, if you're allowing Combat and Fiasco to take control of the inner workings of El Asilo, you will kind of see St. Edwards start to walk ahead again in this map. FGCU, they're going to have to find an answer for that sub fight, and you're looking at Crazy and Minty to continue with the success that they had on the hard point, because Crazy and Minty were the ones to really go toe-to-toe with them.
And it's going to be a tough submachine gun battle, right, inside of El Asilo to be able to walk away with that. That fight inside of Kegs, inside of the main bomb site of the A bomb site, going to be very, very tough to take on anybody from St. Edwards in that situation, in that spot. I would imagine we see either 3 subs or 2 subs and an AR watching over from the top lane. It's going to be very, very tough to win out a lot of those gunfights. But I actually kind of like this map pick from St. Edwards. I'm not going to lie. When you look at how they played Hotel, they don't run a sniper on Hotel, so I would very doubt that we see a sniper come out here in El Asilo. And this is a map where you can really run things without having to pull out that sniper. Yes, it can help in some of those long-range engagements, but usually, if you've got a strong, powerful TAC 56 player able to post up top tower, post up inside one of the big head glitches over the top, looking down the middle of the map, you can definitely find a lot of damage with those big AR players, and they've got 2 really good ones on the St. Edwards team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, El Asilo, with how fast things go towards A, sometimes it's better to not have the sniper. So, yeah, I'm right alongside you with that. I think that Florida Gulf Coast, if you want to start strong inside of this map, you're really going to look towards, you know, shutting down that aggression right off the bat. See if you can hold the lane, find a couple of those players of St. Edwards that are going to be looking to go rogue. The confidence is going to be peaking after that map number 1 victory. St. Edwards, they looked fantastic, so Florida Gulf Coast, they can anticipate that. Walk into this map number 2 with a whole new idea. Slow down the pace, find those opening kills. First bloods on El Asilo are deadly.
One thing I'm looking for from St. Edwards here, Colin, that I need to see an improvement on from what we saw in the first series from today, is I need to see less mistakes here in this search and destroy. Multiple times inside of that map number 2 of our first set today, they were in a man advantage or in a situation where they didn't have to push out. They get a little bit too aggressive and they push out and they find themselves in a rough spot. Need to see an improvement on that here inside of this map. If you get that man advantage, especially on a map like El Asilo, make sure you close those rounds out. You can't be giving away free rounds.
Let's hop into it. Map number 2 of the losers finals. Florida Gulf Coast looking to bounce back on attack right away. Bomb in Crazy's hand as Minty's going to open first blood onto Fiasco. Couldn't ask for a better start there in the sub-duo, Jesse, that we were highlighting. They take their time going to A. They know that a player from St. Edwards could look to trade this out, and Combat sitting towards pillars might just opt into breaking through this door, and he does too, just waiting for him. That's the trade that you wanted. Oh.
The self-stun there from Combat will stay up, though. Not going to get pushed here from Apollo, who actually backs up. When you look across, it's all going to be on Apollo to make this big play here. On the outside, needs to see if they can find any of these players, but actually everybody on St. Edwards wraps back inside of A. Combat might get a little bit over-aggressive here in their side of the double doors outside here, so Apollo still up to them maybe to find this opening, but that bomb is down in a very rough spot if they want to try to get anything here in this round number 1.
The ARs are going to be here. Shaky shots on a Crook and 1 versus 2 for Apollo. 16 seconds left. Vasnev versus Relk and Crook. Both ARs of the team right now for St. Edwards on this map. Relk, as soon as that bomb goes down, going to hop into tools. Apollo just okay to sit here. Both players of the Hilltoppers going to be holding hands. Shots through the door. They do the damage. Apollo gets 1, but that's about it.
I know it's hard to play a 1v2 there, but if you're Apollo and you stun check that, you don't hit anything, I think you might want to wrap off the bomb site there. I mean, you got to expect that the St. Edward players are playing hand in hand in that situation, but unfortunately, not going to be able to find out on those kills. We're going to wait now. Everybody trying to get back as much deady as they can here towards the next round. Broke will finally pick up that bomb, find the final defuse here in the round. I mean, it's a good round there from St. Edwards to close out. They were in a bad spot off the start of it, and they walk away with that round 1 victory off the back of a massive 2-piece from Combat.
Yeah, so good round there from St. Edwards. Combat definitely playing the cards right for the trade. I liked the Florida Gulf Coast in the way that they started off. You get the first blood on a Fiasco, and they expected the trade. They expected the aggression. Except, I think, Combat just waited enough time that, they forgot about it. They looked to work forward, and then those 2 kills really swing the issue. Back on attack now for
Apollo's
the Hilltoppers. And, yeah, Apollo could catch out a couple players if they're not ready.
Combat has got money. If he pushes across, could get caught. Now, no chance that Combat pushes across here. Might push to try to take a gunfight here, though. Apollo's ready for it. Looking up at the window. Combat finds first, though, through middle of the map. Picks off Minty inside of Kegs. And now, St. Edwards looking to see if they can push forward with this bomb. But still, you do have a player inside of the bomb site as well. It's Crazy still waiting. But double stuns come through. Crazy's going to be in a tough spot.
Yeah, Crazy. Now they know Poldo might be looking to get into a position to help out, but players from St. Edwards, they rotate to B. They overwhelm Poldo, and that is the best call that St. Edwards didn't know they could make.
This is the best call I think I've seen them make so far here today in any of the maps. Crazy's going to make a full wrap around the outside here. But they have a Vasnev in hand. You're not going to do anything in this situation unless you're coming in with some crazy shots on the outside here. Apollo does have the AR in hand, but Fiasco's in a perfect spot to shut down any flank potential here. We get 1, gets the second as well, and yeah, that's just a beautiful play from St. Edwards. They realize the openings on the map, they get the bomb down over at B, and they walk away with the bomb, with the round win.
Just a lot more of a collective effort out of St. Edwards, opposed to their first series where each player just were trying to kind of do everything themselves. This is very standard plays from the Hilltoppers that are putting them in positions that FGCU are not ready for. Fiasco makes the right call to just sit and wait, expecting the full rotation from both players of FGCU Academy, and the right call pays off. So 2 opening rounds from St. Edward's back onto the defense for FGCU. They were able to get first blood in round 1, but this time the door's going to open right away. A team kill from Apollo. Lacey takes down Crook, so it's not all that bad, but you look at the minimap in combat, already looking to work this flank. Poldo sniffs it out.
Big play there for Poldo to find that kill. Bomb should be able to go down for free right now as both players from St. Edward's kind of wrapped off of the bomb site here. Fiasco, though, now making an opportunity to push themselves in. Minty wins the gunfight, though, and it's all up to Relk now by themselves in a 1v3. And Bomb actually now from Florida Gulf Coast, they say, hey, St. Edwards, we see you. We can do it as well. Bomb going down over at B. Relk completely not ready for this.
Yeah, a little bit of a pickle for sure. And, yep, this is the right call. We'll see you next round, Relk.
Yeah, don't want to feed streaks at this point of the game. I mean, it would have been very low chance of any big streaks there off that, considering that was the first round on the board there for FGCU, but I agree, the right play there. Indeed, you're really going to have a tough time spotting that out, trying to walk away with that, so might as well just get out of that round as fast as possible here. You've got 3 players from FGCU all on 1, so no real streak potential at all here yet.
Quick attack over to B. Combat trying to make no noise. You don't have that silence, so can't afford to really run across. Minty's got to be careful not to open this door too quickly. Shots are going to be out. Minty gives it away, trying to catch somebody crossing through the fences, but St. Edwards are giving Minty absolutely nothing. Not going to break through the door. Combat turned around. Players from St. Edwards already pushed past, but Minty still gets an angle, brings things back for the trade, and gets out with their life.
I don't understand how Minty finds a kill there, but somehow Minty finds a kill there. Absolutely insane stuff. Through middle of the map. Now Kruk has a big job with 3 players pushing towards either the flank or top window. Will find one. Now needs to put their attention towards Apollo. Apollo will find the trade, and it's a 2v2 with 25 seconds left on the ball.
Plenty of time. Fiasco, though. Minty gets a little bit too aggressive. 1 versus 2. Apollo from up top, and Fiasco. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Fiasco's activated. He's alive, and in the lower finals, he's ready to punch back into the grands.
What a turnaround from Fiasco here in this series. I mean, the really, really rough winners finals. Let's not be candid with that at all. A very rough winners finals. And then you go into this series and just completely turn it on its head. A fantastic map 1, now 5-2, and clutching rounds like that in map number 2. Great stuff from Fiasco here to really turn things around. If Fiasco can play like this, if they make it back to a grand final and they're playing like this, could be a completely different series, but we still got to get there. Florida Gulf Coast still not even out of this map 2 yet. Down 1-3 at the moment, but looking to get very aggressive through top patio here. Combat's in the perfect spot, but only finds 1.
I mean, best case scenario for FGCU Academy, but Combat putting themselves in the utmost best positions at times. Stun check onto Fiasco. Information for Apollo. Communication is going to be fed throughout the team, but Fiasco's just going to opt to hold on to this A site and no further.
Going to close those doors. Make sure that nobody gets a free entry into that A site. Paldo's looking all around up top now, just trying to see if they can pull any of these players, maybe get a pick here. Dead silence will come through, and it looks like Paldo wants to reflank their own spawn here.
That's the right call. Crook's not going to be aware of this. He thinks they cleared it. Crook's going to be all the way up top office.
Oh, Paldo didn't spot him, though.
No. Players separated for St. Edwards. You don't want to have these individual fights go the wrong way. Crook is the information to the player up top. 18 seconds left. You have to make a play if you're Florida Gulf Coast, but look at Relk. The information underneath the truck. Apollo, though, that might be the biggest kill of this round. Bomb gets planted. Fiasco opens the door. Apollo again. 7-3. All down to Crook. 1 versus 3. Shots there. Apollo stays alive. Crook, they know where he is. They have the time. They have the numbers. What are you going to give us? 25 seconds left. Crook's just going to go right down the middle. Shots are from up top, and Crook is down. FGCU, what a round.
Wow, that took forever to get to the end of that round there, Colin, but FGCU at the last moment, make a wrap over towards B, get the bomb down, and completely take away any opportunities there from the likes of St. Edwards to close that round out. Those are two really big kills from Apollo, as well as Rauk played that spot over towards B for the entire round, and Rauk still not able to find those kills. They walk away with the round victory there. And
I'm surprised he checked it.
That's honestly just a great round from Florida Gulf Coast.
Great round from Apollo, too. Minty's going to hop into the exact position that we saw Combat in. Two players looking to push Office. Combat's going to open the door, and he goes down. Luckily for St. Edwards is that it wasn't without a trade.
Yeah, but if you're St. Edwards, you have zero map control right now. Minty pushed all the way up into your stairs. And Relk might be able to find the timing here. Gonna get tagged up heavily. Minty down to 2 HP and a dream. And yeah, brother, just get out with your life.
Poldo gets Relk. Life advantage now to FGCU Academy. Minty's still alive. Fiasco going to be spotted. Drop down to 57 health. Just need to stay alive right now and restabilize if you're the Hilltoppers. Fiasco still has the bomb, so this round is not done yet.
And it's about this time of the round that we've seen this bomb rotate out of A multiple times over towards B for free. I don't think it will be for free with the positioning that Apollo has right now, and it doesn't look like the bomb's rotating out either. Fiasco now trying to put the bomb down, but unfortunately Kruk will fall. Fiasco by themselves. They'll drop as well, and Colin. Just like that, we got a 3-3 game.
Just like that. I mean, FGCU Academy, I don't know what switch flicked inside their head, but they look good right now in the search. Couple rounds in a row and back into the SND, and you have to really give it to the way that Minty played top Office there. They get rid of Combat, and the fact that you stay alive and do so much damage to both Apollo and Crook to back them off, just cementing map control for FGCU.
And not only that, it kind of forced the players out into a perfect position where Poldo was set up to be able to find that kill as well. So it's just really good play. You're absolutely correct in Minty making the difference there inside of that round. And this is a very interesting push here from FGCU. We're going to get 4 players pushing out towards the antenna. Apollo's going to sniff things out, see if they can find anything through middle of the map. Minty will also make some noise through middle of the map, finds a stun as well. But Combat getting very aggressive will find first blood.
Yikes, a little bit shaky, but gets the job done. Minty, who's been a big player for FGCU Academy the past couple of rounds, first blood is going to be costly.
I need to know what route Combat took there to find that kill. Because he didn't go across top. That was completely watched by antenna. But they still find that first kill.
Must have gone all the way across the football field, but instead going to find that first blood and lurk off coast with this bold play they had towards this A control zone. Now they're from the outside looking in. They're going to have to play these kills. 26 seconds left. Combat's going to get the information of the players outside, get back into bar. Eventually, FGCU Academy are going to have to make this play, and Poldo's going to get caught by Crook. Crazy is going to be noticed by the rest of the team. They're funneling into the trap right now. If you are FGCU Academy, Crook's going to tunnel back, finds the kill into Crazy, and they overwhelmed the rest. A flawless round from the Hilltoppers.
And I know Combat found that first blood, and that probably kind of hindered whatever FGCU was trying to do there in that round. But Colin, I really don't understand what they were really trying to do there in that round. I know they were taking full control of antenna side and pushing out that, but both bomb sites are on the opposite side of antenna, either inside the building or on the complete opposite side of the map. So, I mean, maybe just trying to spot out a pick and move off of that, but unfortunately they get picked, and that entire round just kind of falls apart there for FGCU. Nothing they could really do in the round once they lost that first blood and just had zero map control, zero insight on what was going on inside of the middle of the map. And unfortunately, that's going to walk away with another map round lost there. This time, though, FGCU going to be very stacked here inside the A zone.
We're going to pick up the pace. Crazy notices Combat. Next one in. Minty's turn. The sub-duo of FGCU Academy turning up. Relk's going to hop in now. See if you can salvage the round. That's your teammate, Relk, but it doesn't matter. Relk doing the heavy lifting right now. And St. Edwards somehow bring this round back. Bomb is down, though.
Relk is snapping onto absolutely anything he can snap onto right now. And it looks like they'll find a timing to get away from Paldo here. Kruk finds one, Kruk finds two to close the round. Paldo just looked down at the floor at the absolute worst possible time, Colin, as two players from St. Edward slip by, and you walk away with a round loss.
I mean, I don't see how Crazy and Minty make the most 200 IQ play followed by the 100 IQ play of looking both two separate angles. Oh, they had such a good hold at A, but Relk and Kruk somehow snatch it. Even Kruk
I have
making
no idea.
the wrap. I don't know how to break that down. Just St. Edwards just hit the right COD timing at like perfect moment in that round. And FGCU Academy, what could have been a tie game at 4 apiece. Now you are looking to go down 2-0 in this series. Crook's on the flank. He's going to get spotted by Poldo, who has been lights out watching their flank.
Oh, and that
Like this
stun's
play
gonna
from
stop
Crook
him
just
from being
live.
able to get healed up immediately here as well. But has he spotted out Paldo yet? He does spot them out. But nobody else really pushing Kruk yet. And Kruk's in a spot now where he might be able to pick off Paldo.
He gets the first blood. Crook looking to trade 5 in a row. Now Minty on the hunt to see if you can continue to hold lives, and Crook on the rock will not allow it. Nade doesn't hit. Crook still holding on to this position.
Oh, this is so annoying. Very tough to get a player out of a position like this, but Kruk at some point though will need to make their way back over towards the bomb site, as bomb now moving into A. Clear everything out. Bomb goes down. It's technically a 3v2 on site at the moment. Combat goes down as well, so now it's a 3v2 in the round.
Minty's got attack too. Something different here. Minty watching both doors. Fast attack. It doesn't matter. Crook, can you make magic happen again? You have the cruise missile. 1v3 now, 1v2. 32 seconds. Gonna drop down. Minty's gonna get some eyes on Crazy. He's gonna finish the job, and FGCU Academy start to climb back.
Wow, massive round there. Massive round. You get first blooded from Crook. And Crook almost pulls off a second big kill in that round as well. Unfortunately, couldn't find the timing. And the rest of the players here from FGCU close out the round. And we go to a round number 10. FGCU needs one round to give us a round 11 here. Crook does have that cruise missile, though, Colin, so we do need to keep that in mind. That cruise missile on a map like this give you a ton of information. Probably not going to find a kill with it unless you get a player soloed out somewhere on the map. But even then, I mean, a cruise missile, everybody's probably got trophies around them.
Well, cruise missile going to be called in right away. 13 into the round, and while this is happening, you see the Hilltoppers are starting to gain some space. Combat's already in the back of B. Poldo doesn't know what hit him before it's already done. Bomb's going to be down. Fiasco gets traded. Plant nonetheless. Crazy here. Brooks gonna get the kill. Continuing to go forward. Apollo, Relk back and forth. 1 versus 2 for FGCU Academy to continue forward here in El Asilo. Apollo 10 and 16. Can you make it 12? Gonna hear the player down low. Not able to get the shots onto Relk right away. Relk running, lays down and wins it. What?
Massive round from St. Edwards. They use the cruise missile to perfect precision there. You don't find a kill, but what you do is you keep everybody on FGCU hiding in bounds, and in doing so opens up a route over towards B. You win your one-on-one over at the B zone. Even though you lose a player out on the B bomb as well, you end up getting it down, and once you get that bomb down on B, it's very tough to retake that bomb site. The hardest part about B is getting that bomb down, but once you get it down, man, it is a tough break there, Colin. But St. Edwards, not the prettiest map by any means. They looked good at the start, looked a little rough in the middle, and they end up taking a 2-0 lead over Florida Gulf Coast University.
Yeah, let's hear it for the Hilltoppers, man. I mean, game number 1 tonight for St. Edwards, not good at all. I mean, they got smoked by Fisher Falcons, but this is the team that you and I expected to see in today. And FGCU Academy, although they haven't been playing horrible, I mean, Minty and Crazy at times looked like they were just the kryptonite for these Hilltoppers, but small mistakes punishing them throughout these rounds, and Crook and Relk, you go back to that clutch that they had back in, round number 8, and you think what could have been for FGCU if they just shut down Relk.
Yeah, absolutely, right? If you just shut down Relk there inside of that round, could have been very, very different game. Could have been in a round 11 in that situation there, but unfortunately it just doesn't go their way. Sometimes those COD timings can be very, very weird. And unfortunately, they just caught a bad one, and it happens. This play from Rauk was crazy. Shoot one inside the site, tag your teammate up to one shot, and then shoot and kill the other player. Just absolutely unreal stuff. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, though, Colin, it was all St. Edwards to close the game out here. I loved this play with the Cruise as well. Completely gives you all the information. Drops it on A, so don't even have an opportunity to kill your teammates. Drop the bomb on B, and once you get that bomb down there, we said it's very tough to close out, and Apollo was just getting played with at the end of that map.
Yeah, Apollo trying to do so much towards the end, but St. Edward's saying, no, it's our time to shine. Still want this back-to-back championship in CCL Academy, and it's definitely still on the table. Look at these stats. Apollo and Minty had a great game for FGCU Academy, 10-7 both. You look at the non-traded kills, too. They were able to get these kills and stay alive. You know, you think about Minty in general on the sub role for FGCU Academy has been a perfect counter at times to, you know, Combat and Fiasco in the way that they are playing today. I think back to, you know, one of the earlier rounds when Minty takes control of Office, gets behind the bar, and just pops up doing damage to a couple of players, just boxing away St. Edwards and denying them of that second floor control. It's what kept Florida Gulf Coast really in this game, and it allows, you know, the ARs of Poldo and Apollo really to, you know, pick up the slack when the kills are funneled into them. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think even though you have a slow map there out of Poldo and Crazy, I think they both pulled off kind of their spots on the map where they needed to be. I mean, Poldo a lot of times was out on the outside of the antenna just holding down that outside lane, so it's hard to find a lot of kills out there unless you're getting overshadowed by the other team, so I can kind of understand the 3 and 7, and then obviously the other player being the first sub in. Not easy to find a lot of kills in those situations there, but there was multiple times I think where Florida Gulf Coast had a good setup inside of the A bomb, and St. Edwards was able to kind of just break in by themselves. I mean, that one break from Rauk was ridiculous, where you kill the player behind, shoot your teammate, and then still get the second kill. Those are just spots where you need to find those trades, those little tiny things from FGCU. It's really that round, the round as well, where they found the timing through middle of the map to get through those players, and Rauk found that 2-piece on it for St. Edwards. That really stand out for me. If those 2 rounds go the other way, Florida Gulf Coast wins this map 6-4. It's a very, very different game. So it's close, not enough though for Florida Gulf Coast, and they're going to need to find a way to answer back in the rest of the series here now.
Yeah, I mean, that moment from Rauk is one of those that just happened moments, you know, in Call of Duty that like the stars aligned and you get in, you find a kill, shoot your teammate, and I can't believe that's one of those moments today. It's just like, yeah, that happened. I don't know how it happened, but it did. So we got 2-0 for St. Edwards as the shoot is on the other foot right now for them. Now for Florida Gulf Coast Academy, it's going to be a reverse sweep. We're going to get set up for the control. We head over to Brainbird, Jesse. We head back to Hotel. Let's see if Florida Gulf Coast Academy can push this farther. A turnaround for the Hilltoppers. Turmoil for Florida Gulf Coast Academy. Hotel control. Your FGCU fans, you're looking for the reverse sweep. The Hilltoppers, their chance for revenge to the Fisher Falcons, one map away from finding themselves back into the grand finals.
Not going to lie, Colin, I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried, brother. This is the map that we saw St. Edwards look the best against Fisher. So this is going to be a tough round here for the likes of St. Edwards to make a comeback, or sorry, for Florida Gulf Coast to make a comeback here. But off the rip of the game, a good start for St. Edwards. They don't get a ton of pressure over towards B, but they at least get a wrap back over towards A and some opening for an opportunity to get this first zone completed.
Apollo already going to be on the case for the rotation. Back over to A. 3 for Apollo. Hasn't died yet into the round. I say that. A caster curse right away. Crazy's there to pick up where they left off. Still flawless are the subs of FGCU Academy.
Yeah, you really went for the double caster curse there. Eh? First one onto Apollo, then the switch immediately over to Crazy. But we'll finish up on 5 in a row here. Looking for 6, looking for that possible cruise missile. And in a great spot to find it. Top luggage. player not going to be expecting them crazy off the start of the game for FGCU. Immediately the streaks in hand.
Whoa, oh, I thought Relk was about to get world started. Crazy's feeling himself right now. Minty, next up, dives across. Relk, oh, and he lets him know. You're down 2-0. You can't forget that, FGCU Academy. Minty, though, feeling himself again for this map. 21 seconds left into the round, and Hilltoppers back to square one.
We've seen SEU, though, win some of these rounds in some very late situations, very similar to this in our last series. They do need to find a way to break, though. They get 2, but Crazy stays alive, and it's going to be a one-on-one on the point right now. And will Combat be expecting the second player to be on the full flank here? It's Apollo, and Apollo finds a player pushing out a freezer. Crazy Combat still barely just staying alive on the point here.
I love this.
Just trying to buy time for their team to come off spawn.
Exactly. Apollo pays no mind to Combat, allows Minty to just collect the rest of the spotlight for that round, and Apollo is just doing so much for the team right now. Even though Combat was collecting that time, you deny the help, and it just allows for a smooth transition. What a round from FGCU Academy. This is just, it's just something we haven't seen yet from this team.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried, right, going into this map with the way that we saw SEU play it earlier today. But wow, I mean, a great first round there from the likes of Florida Gulf Coast, and Fiasco back on a 0-6 start. Not what you want to see. They've been turning it up this series from what we saw inside of the winners final. They need to turn it back up again if you don't want to see the back half of this series against Florida Gulf Coast, especially if Florida Gulf Coast looks this good and this comfortable on Hotel, considering it's the next 3 maps.
Poldo on 4 in a row. Paulo on 4 in a row. Crazy already with the cruise missile. Crook and Relk going to be in separate gunfights, but it's going to be Crook to piece together a couple, and both Poldo and Apollo are still alive for their streak. Apollo snaps onto Combat. The cruise missile is going to be acquired, looking for number 7. Not going to be there, but Poldo, Apollo, Crazy. 3 cruise missiles for FGCU Academy.
Yeah, that is unheard of. Really, really crazy stuff right now from Florida Gulf Coast. Crazy showing good form here as well inside of Restaurant. This is good form, Colin, right here. This should be the A-zone done and dusted. We look across the map, and Poldo's already picking players off inside of their spawn. Minty doing the same thing, but inside of the St. Edward spawn right now. Florida Gulf Coast look like a completely different team inside of Control on Hotel.
Coming a little bit different right now in these gunfights. Apollo back into a solid position, but Combat's going to be able to put that to rest quickly. Crazy, though, the next one to be a little bit annoying for this team. Top bedroom with attack, and nice shots onto Relk. 4 again on a spree. He's going to be Crazy until he jumps out. Crook, Combat, both combined for 3. And there's the shutdown.
Yeah, those are big kills. Those are really big kills from St. Edwards. You had no forward map control. Now you can push everybody forward, start to try to spawn these Florida Gulf Coast players out, and you just need to win out on all of your gunfights. Now the stuns and nades will come through. Unfortunately, Kruk goes down immediately, and now it's just Relk. Relk is really the only player here on the forward side of the map to really try to shut down any of these Florida Gulf Coast players as they hop on a B.
Relk for only 1 with nature, and now he's got to be 1 with the gunfights, and he's going to be 2 for the gunfight, maybe 3. Crook helps him out. Flawless break.
And the spawn out comes through now as well, Colin. So this is exactly the positioning you want if you're St. Edwards. You do have an opportunity now to completely turn this round around on its head. But you can see for the players on FGCU, they're going to decide, hey, let's send 2 through top, send 2 through to back over towards bedroom. We need to clear that out. But these 2 players, player 5 and 8, will very likely decide this round.
Number 3, Relk, going to be the first one on the chopping block. Minty looking to get into position to deny Crook from that top bedroom position. Now going to hop onto the zone. Combat's going to peel back. A lot of damage there from Minty, but it's going to be Crazy, the one to really deal the damage. Combat jumps out. Minty's going to go down. Poldo for the trade. Players starting to form for FGCU into a position to deny this round and go up 2-0. Poldo on the inside of the zone looking for tick number 2. Fiasco tucked away bottom bedroom. Fiasco's going to peek out. Fiasco gets turned on. The world star from Poldo. 5 in a row.
And Poldo makes the play in that map. They completely decide, hey, let's send 2 players on full flank here. Poldo is the player of the 2 to stay alive and makes full work of it. Hops onto the zone, just plays it from the stair head glitch. and completely wins out on that round. That last kill on a Fiasco was disgusting, and you walk away now 2-0 up in the map here. If you're Florida Gulf Coast, and I mean, St. Edwards, they looked decent on this map against the likes of Fisher. Florida Gulf Coast look different though right now.
Yeah, and I was going to give my flowers to Fiasco for the series and how good he's been playing, both in the hardpoint and the search and destroy. But 2 and 13 is just it. It's like I said to FGCU, this is the loser's final. You cannot afford a performance like that. And now going into round number 3, you're looking at SEU to start to heat up. Unfortunately, you got 3 cruise missiles to watch out for. Number 1's already called in.
Apollo dropped that because they were on 5 in a row, trying to possibly even find a 6th in a row again. Maybe double up on that streak. Unfortunately, they won't find it. Life's very even for the moment. And if you're St. Edwards, you're just trying to find a tick. I don't think you got one in your first round. So right now you're trying to do anything to just get a tick of progression and find some offense here inside of the round. But it's Paldo again from the back line. Will find the first. Gonna challenge onto the second here as well. Does not see Ralph laying down though.
Poldo almost gets another one. Minty's turn now. A little bit of back and forth. Crux, Fiasco, Relk, all set up now, but Apollo finds an angle in. Gonna hop in to contend. Apollo and Minty working side by side, but nobody's gonna watch out for Relk as just staying alive at A, doing what's necessary for the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, Relk has just stayed alive, laying down in that position the entire round so far. This should be the A zone unless Crazy's able to make something happen here. Won't even hop onto the point yet to contest. We'll finally get on now. This 1v1, a little bit of a snake off here between the two. And Crazy walks away with the win. That's going to take away the whole tick over towards A. And now you've only got 30 seconds left of your St. Edwards.
Just some good form out of Crazy. And St. Edwards flip over to B. He's going to look to get some eyes on. Apollo's going to call in cruise missile number 2. First stick going to be secured. Off the wall, gets nothing, but allows for the subs to fly. Crazy, top bedroom, tack in the back pocket. Finds another one on combat. Poldo gonna break the rest of the zone, but 2 ticks at both sides, so we're back to A. Minty shut down.
Yeah, you really gotta make sure right now if you're Florida Gulf Coast, you close this out in time here, but it's not gonna be enough. A goes. You get an extra minute and a half now on the clock if you're St. Edwards, and you only need 1 tick of progression over to at B. Nobody in top bedroom. We've seen them do this before. This should be a round victory for St. Edwards.
Oh, Minty. And Apollo, Crazy in the search and destroy and in the control. I mean, seems like this is the FGCU Academy that got them into this position for losers finals. 11 lives to 11 lives. B zone, only 1 more tick. 1 minute left. Poldo's gonna find a kill. Crazy just gets eyes on Relk. Nobody's watching these close angles.
Wow.
4 clean.
That's crazy. It was looking like a very good opportunity for St. Edwards inside of this round to close that out. They had the forward progression, but unfortunately lose all the gunfights out. Now you need to clear top bedroom. You need to clear bottom bedroom. You need to find a way to push through. Crazy will get tagged up, but nobody there to finish the kill off yet. This player is the #1 focus point right now, though. You need to clear them off. And Crazy finds a kill. This is worst case scenario.
Yeah, worst case for St. Edwards, fighting for their lives. Crazy, though, does not want to allow them to resurrect. 23-9. Vasnev for FGCU Academy, just a little bit different right now in the map. Last chance saloon, 9 seconds left. Crook's gonna get the opening, but Crazy still alive. Drops right down into the head of Relk. You see that right away. FGCU Academy just shutting down the Hilltoppers on hotel control and saying, let's go back to hardpoint.
Yeah, FGCU coming out looking extremely talented at hotel control. A great map out of the Florida Gulf Coast University boys, and Crazy 26-9 on the map, Colin. What a map from the submachine gun of Florida Gulf Coast University. And finally, somebody on FGCU has a pop-off map, and Crazy goes absolutely insane inside of that map. Let's not forget, though, Paldo also had a 6 spree throughout. Apollo also with a 6 spree. That round #1 really just to kind of snowballed the rest of that map.
Yeah, I figured there's a reason why this guy's name was Crazy, and it's for reasons like that.
This is insane.
What a game for Florida Gulf Coast Academy. I mean, I was waiting for that moment, Jesse, that defining moment for this team, what got you here? And that was it. that is the team that got them into this position of losers finals. The team that, won them, some flawless games through the lower bracket to make their way here without dropping a single map after losing to Fisher. But you meet up against the Hilltoppers. At one moment, just they look to be a cut above, just at a different tier, and you go to Hotel Control. You go to what seems like it must be your map pick, and for right reasons. FGCU Academy, their slaying is one that now looks forward into the hard point and says, wait a second, this has a chance to go Game 5. And if it goes Game 5, Jesse, you and I both agree that Game 2 Search and Destroy was very winnable for FGCU.
It was. It definitely was very winnable. So if we get to that game, it's definitely an opportunity for FGCU to still come back here in the series. They're not out of it by any means, right? So they can bring this one back. They look so good inside of that map number 3, and they looked very comfortable on Hotel Collins. So I'm very excited for this map 4. It's going to be a hotel hard point that we go to next. And honestly, I mean, if Florida Gulf Coast can play the way that they played in that control, finding the right angles, finding all the timings, they felt like they were in a flow state that entire map. And if they can find a way to replicate that inside a hard point, just some way, somehow, and pull off a victory against St. Edwards on a map that's not so scrappy, a more traditional hard point style map than what we got inside of map number 1 and inside of Embassy, which is very, very scrappy, very back and forth. If they can shoot back with St. Edwards, this could be a very different series, and we could be going the full distance.
We get a map 4. We get a map 4 finally, Jesse, today. And I was worried that, after what we got from Hilltoppers in that hard point, that this might be the end of the road for the Eagles. But instead, look at these stats. Crazy 26-9, Minty 22-16. Minty had a fantastic search and destroy alongside Apollo, and those players did not slow down going into map number 3. Back into the respawns, 17 non-traded kills for Minty, 23 for Crazy. You look at the damage they had per round 2. Both of those players just always in the face of St. Edwards, always just trying to make sure that the Hilltoppers were fighting from the back foot. And we have to talk about it, Jesse. Fiasco, 6-21. Going into that last round, he only had 2 kills, so, was able to kind of push a little bit farther in that round number 3, but still, it's a performance that you just cannot afford if you're St. Edwards right now.
No, I mean, hey, to be fair for Fiasco, they doubled their kills every round. 0 round 1, 2 round 2, 4 round 3 at the very least. But yeah, not enough inside of that map. You need to be better. We need to see the Fiasco we saw in maps 1 and maps 2, but you know what? Maybe there's an opportunity there to kind of touch on the ARs of St. Edwards and not really being able to open up enough for that submachine gun to really be able to break out and find a lane to be able to get into anything, because honestly they just looked like a mess on that map as a team in general. So I can't pin that one down on just one player. You're not getting 3-0'd off of one player alone inside of that map. That's a team effort, and unfortunately Fiasco didn't have the best map. But honestly, I just don't think that there was very much opportunity for Fiasco to kind of flow around the map and find the situations that you need to be in for a submachine gun to find success on a map like Hotel Control. Now going over towards the Hotel Hardpoint, we saw Hardpoint in map number 1 for St. Edwards look very dominant. They held a 100-point lead almost all the way through that map number 1. They need to find that form again here. They don't want to go to a map number 5 because Florida Gulf Coast looked very good in Search. It was a close map. They don't want to even chance it going there. If you're St. Edwards, you're trying to close this out in 4.
Yeah. Trying to close this out in 4. Search and destroy is something that you're looking for if you're FGCU and you're thinking that is our opportunity back into this lower bracket run to grand finals. We hop on board with FGCU Academy after a crazy map number 3. Let's see if they can continue their success now into the hard point. Hotel is just their map, and Minty says, I'm ready to take this all the way. 2 kills to open up. Apollo's going to back him up, and FGCU a quick break into P1.
Yeah, Minty's looking really good right now. Submachine gun in hand still, doing exactly what they need to do. Apollo also finding a few kills over the top, and a 7 spree combined between the two of them to start the map off. Unfortunately, Apollo will go down. Nobody left inside of the hill here, but mainly if you're Florida Gulf Coast now, after getting some time on that P1 hill, the main focus now is holding on to these spawns for P2.
And St. Edwards just trying to collect what they can, see if they can give them a buffer for when they need to rotate over to P2. Right now, all eyes onto Combat and Crook. That's going to get eyes onto the player throwing the nade. slowly crawls in. Nobody is going to be on the right. Okay, I thought Minty was going to be there. I was waiting for it. Fiasco in for the trade alongside Relk, now looking to put pressure down onto these players. The contention for P2 not allowing FGCU Academy to get any time, but nice kill from Poldo and Apollo to lock it down.
And this is the way that you see Optic constantly trying to break this zone as well. Is what they do is they throw trophies down and they just kind of file everybody through the likes of Chandelier to try to push their way in, and it's working really well for Florida Gulf Coast. And Apollo popping 2, Minty finds the 3rd in the hill, almost guarantees them the rest of this hill time here, but you do get a spawn up in the back for St. Edwards, so they will hit this one last time.
It's going to be a race, 1v2 or 1v1 here for Crazy. First one into kitchen, and you need rotation secured for FGCU Academy as St. Edwards flipped out.
St. Edwards will hold the remainder of this time. They'll get a very marginal lead here, but when you look across the map, Colin, this is going to be a very tough hill to break.
It's going to be the first contact. Nobody's going to check the corner. Crazy's going to get 2. Headshot multiplier on Relk. Immediately deletes that player, looking for a little bit more on 1 HP, but that's egregious. Combat and Crook pull back. Now with close spawn, St. Edwards threatening this hill. P3 not locked down fully. Crook and Relk, they get the break.
It was looking like a good setup, but unfortunately, like you said, just a little bit of an egregious chow there. You don't need to push out in that situation. And unfortunately, you give the numbers in the favor of St. Edwards. They find the break from the front, a very good break that they need. But speaking of breaks, right back goes Florida Gulf Coast for the last 20 seconds.
Exactly. Now on rotation, St. Edwards with a small deficit. They have to set up to new. Not a bad start from the Hilltoppers, but small little mistakes going to cost them the rest of the time over towards Hill 3. A couple kills, too, going the way of Apollo. That is going to flip out St. Edwards on rotation. They lose out on scrap time, and they lose initial time over towards P4, and Minty's going to get the better of combat. Crook's going to fall. Relk has yet to see a player in the spot, just sitting top bedroom, wasting time. Poldo soaking up as much as you can inside this hill. Crazy watching over him. Fiasco's going to get shut down. Apollo for the 1v1, trying to stay alive, looking to finish off things. The nade's going to do some damage, and Minty to back him up. A couple kills on the inside of the point, but it's still going to be Florida Gulf Coast on top.
Yet to get broken here in the hill. Finally, with 20 seconds left, St. Edwards will sniff the hill for the first time here. Minty, though, going for a break right back in. Relic with a big 2-piece to hold the last 10 seconds here. It's going to be about a 30-point game as we head over towards P5. It's the Restaurant Hill, and so far, numbers in favor of Florida Gulf Coast, and they make those numbers show up strong. They find the first 2, and they get the initial setup.
Apollo just barely missing the mark on Crook. Initial time is going to be lost for FGCU because of that, and chance for the Hilltoppers to collapse together. Minty, some bad timing, and all the 1v1s go to the Hilltoppers, Jesse, for an early break.
Really good early break, too, because now if you're Florida Gulf Coast, you need to be careful on this push across. Can't get too aggressive here. You want to hold the spawns for P6 as well, which is in that bottom left-hand side of the map. So St. Edwards has a really good opportunity just to hold on to the rest of this time. You've probably got one break opportunity now if you're Florida Gulf Coast, but you're making full push of it. Unfortunately, you don't win out on all the gunfights here, but you win out on enough to find a few seconds on the hill. Should get pushed by these last 3 players. Oh my god, but Crazy wins 2 and might actually hold the rest of the scrap time here for FGCU.
Crook feeling the pressure is going to jump up and see if you can force a mistake out of FGCU Academy. Instead, a small lead now garnered. The biggest lead, I think, we've seen from FGCU Academy in this map, and it's been a neck-and-neck battle. You have to be careful with your Hilltoppers because this is where things can start to skew the way of the Eagles. And now for St. Edwards, looking to group up. Life advantage for the push. You're going to get eyes onto the first one. Minty tagged up, finished by Relk. Now you're into the hill for St. Edwards. This is some good time. Crazy. Apollo trying to do as much damage, but that's about it.
Yeah, full push through the back. A big break from St. Edwards. A break that they needed to keep themselves inside of this map here. It could have gotten
going again?
A very big lead come this map. But now with the combat inside of the hill, it's going to give you a little bit of time here. Apollo pops 2 up top, though, and Apollo, if they can hop inside of the hill here, could get a free 10 seconds to close this out. Looks like it will be Crazy to step on the time. And it's going to be about a 150 to 115 lead at the end of the first set of rotations here. So still a very close game. Either team still with a shot to win.
I mean, Jesse, that kill from Apollo was the difference between a 126 to 140 game and a 156 to 117 game. So Apollo is just being so annoying. St. Edwards fighting from the behind now into the second set of rotations. Minty looking for the rotation a second. Paulo trying to break as well, working alongside Poldo. Player behind the desk. You're looking to stay alive for your combat. Crook's gonna get spotted up top. Nice shots from Poldo. Apollo working alongside him. All the kills go to FGCU Academy. And again, an early break from this team. Looking to hold their lead, push it a little bit farther. It's Poldo's turn into the mix. Laying prone towards couches. Can't find anything.
Fiasco gets a bit of a blessed spawn here. Spawns up in Chandelier. Able to push all the way through the back now. Could be in a really, really annoying spot for the Florida Gulf Coast players, but he gets spotted out. Doesn't play their life immediately here. Now needs to try to find a way to stay alive in the back. Looking for a spot to hide. Can't hide from Florida Gulf Coast University, though, and they'll be the first team here inside of P2 again.
Combat in a 1 versus 2. A little bit of help from Fiasco. And this is perfect from the Hilltoppers, going big when you need them. Combat 12 and 20, but that one single kill might be enough to start the climb back. Combat from above, crazy, not going to expect it. A couple kills from teammates too. Apollo from distance, backed off. Crook takes down Poldo. Kills going the way of the Hilltoppers. They're starting to climb back. Nice play from Crook to force the issue too. And the kills wiped down from FGCU Academy. You look at the arrows, they're giving it up.
Wow, with 25 free seconds to St. Edwards, this better be a good hold now from Florida Gulf Coast. They had a full setup here in the first set of rotations and were broken immediately as well. Get a little bit too aggressive the first time through. Need to see some patience out of this team. We need a good hold here, especially when you're giving up 25 free seconds. The lead now into the favor of St. Edwards for the first time in this game.
177, 184. St. Edwards back into the driver's seat. Time to rotate through, but this time around, Florida Gulf Coast are going to place Apollo on the outside of the hill. 3 versus 3 to fight things out. Crazy with better positioning. The Vastnev's going to strike up close. Looking for an angle are the Hilltoppers to see if they can pull a couple of kills before jumping in, but they're going to flood. They're going to flood right into Poldo. Minty hasn't yet needed to make any damage. Apollo and Minty go down. Poldo overwhelmed the break again from St. Edwards.
At least you hold the first 30 seconds there, though, for Florida Gulf Coast. You get a good chunk of time, still bring yourself right back into this one, even though you gave up a lot of time. Now pushing for the scrap of Fiasco. Pops 2. Unfortunately, it was all 4 that pushed for old, and Florida Gulf Coast will hold on to that last little bit of time. They should hold about a 20-point lead here as we head over towards towards P4. And right outside of Spa we go. Florida Gulf Coast up 22, St. Edwards on the hill.
Right now, the Hilltoppers just grinding their way through this hard point. FGCU outslaying from a large margin. Looking to tie things up, see if you can flip the lead. Players from FGCU Academy threatening from the front line. Nice nade from Ralph is going to leave numbers in the hands of St. Edwards. Ralph gets up top too, finds a second, snaps to Poldo. All 4 down. Beautiful.
Scary. Colin, they can win on this hill. St. Edwards can still pull this off on this hill. If you're Florida Gulf Coast, you cannot give this time up for free.
Here we go. Second break. Combat watching the flank. All eyes forward for St. Edwards. Nobody on the flank for now as Minty gets dropped. They're going to do it from the front line. Crazy just trying to stay alive. 10 seconds left. It's enough to force another hill.
And it's going to be a foot race. Both teams running towards P5 here. It will be Apollo, the first player here, set up with attack in hand. If you're St. Edwards, you're waiting for all your players. You're going to try to make one big break together.
Apollo just needs to stay alive. Player number 4 so far away. You got life advantage, but Apollo, the magic man right now for Florida Gulf Coast. Minty on their wing. A 15-second deficit from each other, but a chance now for FGCU to send us to a map 5. They have their feet in the hill, and they don't want to leave just yet. Here we go. Now we got Crazy looking to get it down. Another 4 down for St. Edwards, and here we go. Map number 5 in the lower finals.
Hotel is the map for Florida Gulf Coast. We finally found out where Greenberg is. It's owned by FGCU as they take 2 against St. Edwards, and we're going to go to a third map on this map And oh my God, Colin, I mean, I thought FGCU threw it. I thought they were going to throw that game away when they give up all that time on P1, or sorry, all that time on P2, going over towards Kitchen for that early setup and then get broken very quickly on that hill again. But they grinded it out. They got just in time to break St. Edwards from winning on P4. They early rotate to P5. They set up and they hold off every single push from the Hilltoppers and Florida Gulf Coast University. They force us to a game number 5.
I mean, Jesse, you said it to me perfectly when we went to our first break between maps 2 and 3. You said that when you're playing a team that's better than you, you just cannot afford to make mistakes. And FGCU, through the maps 1 and 2, they were making small but lots of mistakes throughout those maps. Ever since the break, I don't know if they got a pep talk. I don't know if somebody was like, hey, guys, let's just play like we normally play, just, you know, kind of leveled out the team and restabilize. But something happened between maps 2 and maps 3 that we are getting an FGCU team that can upset St. Edwards right now in the lower final and match up against the Fisher Falcons going into the grand finals. We have just one more map between these two teams.
Oh, man. And you know what it was, Colin? It had to have been Kirchi. Kirchi walked in the back room of the facility, smacked all the players around, said, what are we doing? We're not playing how we normally play. Smarten up, boys. FGCU has shown up, though, since we've gone to Hotel. They look very comfortable on this map. I'm really worried for St. Edwards going towards a Search and Destroy next, Colin. Because not only do we have a Search and Destroy coming up, but we have a Search and Destroy that St. Edwards lost, and a map that they looked worse on than what we saw them look inside of El Asilo, that they barely pulled out a win against Florida Gulf Coast. Everything feels like the momentum is swinging towards FGCU right now.
We see in the last couple of moments here for FGCU, Apollo goes huge. 6 kills in the last remaining 2 fights. You saw that in the rotation to Restaurant. FGCU, it was a 2 versus 4, but Apollo playing that close angle inside the hill, watching the cross through the side door, lines up 2 players and snaps up for a third. I mean, Apollo 34 and 22. That's a big moment for the team to just restabilize and seize control of the hill. So a big player in that map that really turns things around when things get scary. Apollo always staying consistent for the team. A strong map number 2, a strong map 3, a strong map 4. Realistically, the only time I've seen FGCU Academy today not playing well is in that map 1. You know, you had a slow start from Poldo and Crazy in the first Search to Destroy, but even still, you've had consistency since that map 2 from both Apollo and Minty, and you have been riding off of it.
And I think the big difference from maps 1 and 2 to maps 3 and 4 has been the difference of 2 players. Fiasco for the side of St. Edwards, who's very much so the X factor for that team. If Fiasco is popping off, this team is winning maps. But on the other side is Minty for Florida Gulf Coast. Not great maps 1 and 2, but maps 3 and 4, oh my God, has Minty found a form for FGCU right now, looking very, very good. I mean, look at the damage on the board. 3,200 with a SMG on that map, averaging 314 damage a hill. A very, very strong map. 18 non-traded kills from the submachine gun here. I know not the numbers that Apollo was putting down, but still very strong numbers in itself. And we can take another look here. You can see maps 1 and 2 to St. Edwards. Soon as we hit Hotel, though, it smacked the Hilltoppers in the face, and Florida Gulf Coast go back-to-back. And now we've got a game number 5 in Colin. I think this Hotel's going to be a damn good map.
I don't know what it is about Greenberg Hotel, but if St. Edwards scrape their way through this series and make their way back into the grand finals, Jesse, veto this map. I don't care if you go to an Expo control. I don't care if you go somehow find your way onto a Fortress control. Veto Hotel.
If we find our way onto a Fortress control, I might have to walk out. I'm not gonna lie.
I just don't know what about it is about this map, but if they find their way into the grand finals, Greenberg has got to go. Round number 1, game 5, reverse sweep on the table for Florida Gulf Coast. Both teams looking for redemption against Fisher Falcons.
SPX in the hand of Minty will find that first blood as well. Something St. Edwards was not able to answer back was the sniper on the side of Fisher the first time we saw them on this map. So need to try to find a way to answer back the sniper now that FGCU is pulling one out as well.
Apollo's gonna jump through combat at range with the Vaznev, just not the gun for the job. And FGCU, after momentum from maps 3 and 4, Jesse, it doesn't stop here.
It doesn't. It doesn't stop at all. And very good start here for FGCU. They hop right on. And they shut them down early. And now we'll see what they decide to do here on their defense. St. Edwards, it was their offenses that were very wishy-washy inside of their first search and destroy that we saw them play in this map in the winners finals. It felt like they were very indecisive with what they wanted to do with the bomb. Need to be more decisive here in this map. Relk kind of just shouldering the Godheady here, looking over A. The rest of the teammates all setting up across the middle of the map. And first blood again goes to Apollo.
Crook doesn't find any angles. Apollo gets 2? You gotta be kidding me! 2 big kills and now Minty is just gonna fly.
And Fiasco goes down to close off the round. There was nothing there for Florida Gulf Coast. They gave nothing to St. Edwards inside of that round. Once you were in that 1v2 or 1v4 at the end, Fiasco is just like, hey, I got to try something here. Flies out, and Apollo 5 in a row, continuing on that hot spree that we saw from the last map inside of this map here, and closes out another 5 spree. If they find one more, that's a cruise missile in 3 rounds to start the search and destroy off.
Yeah, Apollo 5-0 is absolutely absurd. I mean, it just has been the catalyst for FGCU Academy. Bomb going to be in the hand of Poldo. Heading over to A right off the bat. Players spread across the map for FGCU Academy. Combat's going to get a little aggressive through the middle. Crazy might be able to get eyes in on this one through the side door, but at the same time, FGCU, they have their sights set at A. And yeah, Crazy's going to spot out Croak. Crazy gets 2. And there's the opening yet again for FGCU Academy.
Free bomb plant over towards A. Oh, I thought it was free, but Fiasco will actually find one with the tack. Fiasco wraps back to bottom luggage, almost finds the second with the tack as well. Still man advantage to the side of Florida Gulf Coast. Apollo still not able to get this bomb down, the nade over the top, and Fiasco with a massive 2 here in the round. Minty drops as well, and now what was looking like a sure thing leaves Crazy now in a 1v2, needing to get the ace here.
Yeah, they know Crazy's either on the flank or in the middle of the map with the opening 2 kills that Crazy has. The rest of the team falls to pieces. 29 seconds, bomb is down. Crazy not in the best spot, but 3 kills throughout this map so far. You might be thinking you get 1 kill, you get to 4 in a row. You might just look to play your life, but it looks like Crazy's going to take a shot at this one. All the way up top, Fiasco takes the early damage. Combat doesn't move. You know time's on your hand. You know you have the player's numbers, so you wait for Crazy to make the mistake, and you take the round win.
That's a big round from St. Edwards. It was looking like a round loss for sure. And a 3-0 victory for FGCU. It was a 2v4 that they were able to pull back. And honestly, it's on the back of Fiasco. We called him the X Factor for SCU, showing it again here, Colin, inside of this map. Finds the first blood, finds the second, stays alive, and then takes the player off of bomb as well. Insane stuff there from Fiasco in the round. Unfortunately, ends up falling at the end of the round. But St. Edwards, it's the round that they needed to give themselves a little bit of momentum, bring themselves back inside of this game. Now back on offense, it looks like we're going to see a 4-man hit straight over to the kitchen.
This is something we really didn't see from St. Edwards in the winners finals, so something new. I'm keen to see if it pays off. Minty, it's like he's on the TV, so playing this close angle towards Freezer and turns his back at the right time, but even still, Combat doesn't check it. Quick trade from Relk, and Combat, the nade lands on Crazy. Apollo maybe might get eyes onto Relk after the bomb goes down. Oh, but Relk gets away.
Oh, they get away into a great spot, too. Nobody on site right now. You've got your entire back watched if you're SCU, and you really just need Relk to check the bomb here every once in a while. From the freezer, checks it, knows nobody's on it. This is going to be another free 10 seconds they can hold this.
27 seconds. Poldo's going to break in. They hear the noise at the door, and Relk gets the information. Poldo's going to hop the defuse right away. Players from Rug's not going to check. Fiasco, nade on the Poldo, finds the kill. Apollo, 1 versus 2. Time against. They know they have everything in their favor, and a tight game on Hotel.
That hold got me a little scared, Colin, towards the end of that. When I saw the 2 players lay down beside each other, I thought Apollo was going to be able to hit the shots over the top, maybe close that round out from the player challenging in from the freezer, but unfortunately they lose out on the gunfight. They get the player off the bomb and that out quick enough, and just like that, we got a 2-2. Very close game between these two off the start of this one.
I thought for a second too. I mean, if Crazy didn't hop that bomb and they watched both angles, that could have been a round win and steal a lead. But St. Edwards, there is your moment back into the lower finals. You're back into Hotel. Time to see if you can rewrite things this time around. The script is headed to B. Fiasco has the door open and Apollo just laser beams.
Yeah, Apollo says thanks for opening that door up for me. I'll take full advantage of that. Now, FGCU looking to do exactly what we just saw from St. Edwards. They get the bomb down, looking for a full hold over at the B's site. Combat going to try to break in from this side door. You got Relk from the back door, but it is not going to be enough. This is a full hold. Unless something miraculous happens, this should be an FGCU round win.
Combat's in. Poldo says, nope. Get back out of here. Yeah, not much you can do there if you're St. Edwards. Exactly like you said, as soon as Fiasco loses that first gunfight to Apollo, you just think, that's round. That's it. Done.
Yeah, this map, B is very hard to hold. Once that bomb goes down and the offense has full advantage inside of the site. Now with both teams hitting that site successfully, I expect to see much more respect from both these teams going over towards that B site. Because so far it's only been one player from either team holding that site. We might see something different coming through here. Maybe some 2-2 splits, maybe a player in the middle of the map that can wrap back a little bit quicker. We'll have to see. And it looks like we're going to get a two-man hit from FGCU through middle of the map. Minty with the snipe out, not able to find anything towards bottom luggage. And might even get challenged quickly here.
4 versus 3. Bomb at A. Crook looks like you want to stretch this. Oh, here we go. This is going to be weird. Wait, what? You cannot lose that combat. Bomb still hasn't been planted from St. Edwards. Lives are going to be even. Now Minty upgrades from the pistol to a Vaznev 9K, and the boomstick is well alive. Down lane, Rouk's got to be careful.
I mean, heck, you even need the Vaznev if you're getting kills with a pistol like that. Apollo through middle of the map will find one. Fiasco going to go for a second opportunity at Minty here in bottom luggage. Minty says, this is my spot. Relk now looking for a 1v3. These players are going to try to hit from all angles. We'll find the first. This is good opportunity now to try to close this round.
I mean, right now, you have time.
You got stuck.
You can isolate these fights.
Oh, I thought
Minty's
he got
gonna hop this defuse right away. Relk, the natured land, 9 HP, gonna peek out, but can't find the kill onto Minty. Apollo with the fantastic overwatch.
I don't know what happened to that nade that got thrown at him. I thought for sure he got stuck there, but stays just alive. Must have went straight over the top.
I think he just got bonked by a frag. I don't think that was a Semtex.
It's very possible.
Who knows? All I know in that round is that Minty should not have lived throughout that.
Yeah, I mean, Minty was doing God's work. Let's be honest, in bottom luggage, just doing absolutely everything possible to stay alive, and now giving FGCU a 4-2 lead. It's been going back and forth, 2 rounds, 2 rounds, 2 rounds. If the pattern stays true, St. Edwards should take the next 2, but very often that doesn't stay the way that it was originally here in this map. Minty keeps the snipe out, looking over towards A. Not able to find anything here yet. But they do have opportunity to get this bomb down. Apollo gets first.
Hello.
Minty gets second. This should be a bomb plant for sure.
Oh, man. It looks like they've practiced that time and time again. Crook is on the brink of getting flanked by Crazy. Door's going to open, and here he goes. 3-1 in favor of Florida Gulf Coast Academy, and they continue to push the issue on Hotel Brainbird. Control, hardpoint search, it does not matter. It's the FGCU show.
FGCU is 1 round away from bringing this back in their favor. It'd be their biggest comeback here. It's got to be the biggest comeback for them in the season. Down 2-0 against St. Edwards University, a team that has been so good. The Academy champions of last year on the brink of elimination now need 4 rounds in a row to give themselves a chance at grand finals, Colin.
You gotta dig deep if you want to go back-to-back. No room for errors. The aggression, the confidence for FGCU too. Poldo going to stay and watch the cross to A. Combat looking to stretch it. And yeah, Poldo is not going to get eyes on. So, oh, he sees it. Poldo going to shut that down. That's bomb out of the open, Jesse.
I don't think that he saw him originally, but then they turn around. They showed their feetsies. They ended up going down. Now the man advantage to the side of St. Edwards. Crazy looking over the top will fall. Oh, this is not good. Kruk, though, with massive two-piece to even us out in a 2v2, but that bomb still needs to go down, and Minty's on the flank.
Well, the dogs were out originally, but they put them away. 1 versus 1 to stay alive. The Hilltoppers all down to Kruk. Running to the hills. Bomb not in hand, so you can't just head over to B. And eventually, Minty's going to know this. So both players squaring up against each other, sizing up this opportunity. Crook's going to dodge back. Minty, D2, right behind this head glitch. The God Heady from Minty! And St. Edwards are sent packing!
They wanted no part of a possible comeback there. Minty gets it done at the first opportunity. It was Rauk on an opportunity to finish that round with an ace. Maybe give their team a chance to come back, but Minty hops up on God Heady, drops that player as they head over towards the bomb. Just a perfect read, and St. Edwards, they drop out back-to-back series. First, they get swept in the winners finals by Fisher. They drop down. It's looking good at the losers final. It's a 2-0 lead. But then Florida Gulf Coast goes to a hotel and says, this is our damn map. And they win 3 in a row. They bring it back, and FGCU punches their tickets to the grand finals.
Yeah, the Hilltoppers, that's a stinger. They're going to be having nightmares of hotel for days to come, for nights. For a while now, Jesse. Wow. Okay, so that's going to be it for our losers final. Florida Gulf Coast with a reverse sweep. I mean, unbelievable from these players who, Jesse, this is, you know, some of these players, it's my first time seeing them play. And Minty, Crazy Apollo, even Poldo was holding their own. I got nothing but good things to say about these players after what we just saw. The complete composure from Florida Gulf Coast Academy. It's tippable.
It felt like it took a while for them to heat up in this series, but once they got hot and once they got over to this map, I mean, Hotel seems to be their map. I got a question for you, Colin. If you were Fisher and you're looking at that, are you vetoing out Hotel? I don't honestly, I'm looking at that and how comfortable like they look on that map. I mean, I would kind of be a little worried, honestly, to play FGCU on this map.
With the way that Fisher were playing in the winners final, with the way that Fisher have been playing throughout this whole bracket, I wouldn't even... I wouldn't even blame them if they're not even watching this match right now. They are big chilling right now in the grand finals. They have no worry in the world, and they are ready for anything these two teams have thrown at them. I mean, Fisher Falcons in the winners bracket, they 3-0'd both St. Edwards and Florida Gulf Coast Academy. So no matter what we get in this grand final, I'm sure Fisher are ready for it.
I'm sure as well. But I kind of just mean like, you can't get too complacent. You got to look at what's going on. If they lose the first series, then that's maybe when you might want to start looking at your vetoes, especially. But I was thinking the same thing. I think that if we go into this best of 5 here, I think that we'll just get a straight up square up in this first series. I think that they will just square them up on whatever maps Florida wants to play. They won't care. They'll play their most comfortable maps as well. But man, I think we're going to be in for a good one here. Florida Gulf Coast look on point right now, seem to be playing their best COD of the year, and they take down the former champs here in a 3-2 fashion.
Yeah, they do. And Apollo, I mean, if you're going to give anybody the MVP of this match, you're going to give it to Apollo. 12-3 in the search. Mega performance in the hard point to stay alive and win out on a hard point that you could have lost at Preberg Hotel, map number 4. But Apollo lights out when you're backed into a corner. He just digs them right back out. So Apollo, I mean, that is a big moment for you to really solidify yourself as one of the best right now in Academy. Now Florida Gulf Coast, after looking at the series, saying, yay, we just reverse sweep the previous champions from Vanguard and CCL Academy. They are ready for the Fisher Falcons. Jesse coming up next.
Yeah, and this is a final look here at the best of 5. Like we said, Embassy Hardpoint looked very good for St. Edwards. LSC Low Search and Destroy, a little rocky, but they got the job done. But man, did this series flip on its head once we got to Hotel. 3-0 in the control. That was crazy in itself. 250 to 245, probably the map of the day so far between these two teams on that Hotel Hardpoint. It was back and forth. Florida holding the lead, St. Edwards making that comeback, but Florida closed it at the very end. And then that last 6-2 on Hotel Search and Destroy. We called it. We said that St. Edwards looked rough in that first search. We said they looked rough on search against Fisher on that map mode combination. And Florida Gulf Coast, they took full advantage of that. And they just rode that momentum wave all the way to the end. 3-2 victory. They go to the grand finals. It's going to be a good one. You don't want to miss it.
You don't want to miss it, folks. We got both Florida Gulf Coast University Academy and Fisher Falcons Academy looking for their first championship as a school in collegiate Call of Duty. We got one more break, folks, in the grand finals. Get ready, get your snacks. We'll be right back with College COD.